There comes a moment in every life when the noise of the world fades, and what remains is silence. A silence that asks you one question: who are you becoming? Not who they told you to be, not who you pretend to be, but the person you were born to become, without filters, without limits, without fear. This is not a story of comfort. This is a story of conquest, of the human spirit's relentless drive to rise from the dust of doubt, to climb from the valley of excuses, to step forward even when the world pushes you back. And it begins with a truth most people spend their whole lives avoiding. You are not owed anything, not success, not happiness, not peace, but you can earn them and more if you are willing to learn the lessons life doesn't teach in school, but carves into your soul through experience. These are the lessons that forged empires, birthed revolutions, and carried ordinary men and women into the annals of immortality, lessons you won't find in textbooks, but in the fire of failure, in the echo of sleepless nights, in the sweat of persistence. And the first lesson is this. Lesson 1, your mind is the battlefield, and you must win there first. Before Edison lit the world, he lit a flame in his mind that refused to be extinguished. 10,000 failed experiments were not failures to him. They were proof that his belief burned brighter than the darkness of doubt. Your mind will either be your prison or your power. What you allow to take root in that soil will shape the fruits of your life. If you plant fear, you harvest regret. If you plant belief, you harvest miracles. You see, average people wake up and wait. They wait for permission, for motivation, for circumstances to change. But legends, they wake up and decide. They decide what kind of day they will create. They decide who they will become in spite of what life throws at them. There is no force on earth more powerful than a made-up mind. No weapon more deadly than belief backed by relentless action. Belief is what lifted Lincoln from a log cabin to the White House. Belief is what made a farm boy named Henry Ford revolutionize transportation for every man, not just the wealthy. So what do you believe? Because belief is not about affirmations. Belief is about how you act when everything falls apart. Belief is the calm in chaos, the fire under failure, the whisper that says, "This will not break me." Lesson 2, clarity is power. Vague dreams build vague lives. The reason most people wander is because they never choose a direction. And the reason most people feel empty is because their energy is scattered, chasing 1,000 things and mastering none. Clarity is not a gift. It is a decision. It is the discipline to shut out the noise, to ask yourself, what do I really want, and why does it matter? Not what's popular, not what's trending, not what's easy, but what is true. When Walt Disney was fired from his newspaper job for lacking creativity, he didn't spiral into self-pity. He sat with his vision, a vision so absurd, so grand, so unimaginable to the world, that it took decades of resistance, debt, and bankruptcy before Disneyland ever saw daylight. But he saw it long before anyone else did. He saw it in his mind with painful clarity. He walked through those gates long before they existed. Because vision is not what your eyes see. It is what your soul sees when your eyes are closed. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. And if you don't define success for yourself, the world will define it for you. And you'll spend your life chasing things that never satisfy. You must decide. What do you stand for? What will you create? What will your life mean when the curtain falls? Because clarity doesn't come from the outside. It comes from solitude, from sitting with your thoughts when the phone is off, the world is quiet, and all that remains is your truth. Lesson 3, purpose is the fuel that survives the fire. People talk about motivation as if it's magic. But motivation dies the moment life punches you in the mouth. Purpose? Purpose bleeds, but it never dies. When you know why you're doing what you do, you become dangerous. You become the person who doesn't quit when it's hard, who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't sell out when the storm comes. You become unshakable. Purpose gave Helen Keller vision beyond sight. Purpose gave Nelson Mandela patience beyond pain. Purpose made Martin Luther King Jr. look fear in the face and still march forward. What is your purpose? Because if your goal is just money, you'll quit when it takes longer than you thought. If your goal is just comfort, you'll run when the fire comes. But if your goal is transformation, for yourself, for your family, for generations you'll never meet, then no force in hell can stop you. Purpose is the anchor when everything else is chaos. It is the reason behind the routine, the meaning behind the sacrifice. And the voice inside that says, this pain has a point. You don't find purpose. You create it in how you show up, in what you fight for, in the standard you refuse to lower, even when nobody's watching. And once you have it, protect it. Because the world will try to steal it from you, through comfort, through distraction, through fear disguised as practicality. But you are not here to live practical, you are here to live purposeful. Live